Hi guys. This is not my normal subject matter to do a video on, any kind of video presentation, so don't get your hopes up. I'm not gonna do a lot of I'm not gonna make fancy editing, but I do have visual aids and I've printed them out for my printer because I want to do this quickly, because if I like basically know that I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing and things like that, I'm probably going to put it off forever and never do this. Um, so kind of the story of how I got into the inheritance game, I guess, on ancestry.com. I've already been doing a little tiny bit of genealogy through the LDS, Mormon Latter-day Saint website that it's connected with ancestry.com and all these other kind of heritage type of websites. Anyway, so I was already part of doing that, and just to see, just fun stuff like who are you related to or how are you related and stuff like that, but not DNA. So, Michelle, my older sister, hi Michelle, if you're watching, she was excited. She and her friend got excited about Ancestry.com because I think because her friend had found, since high school, had found her on people she's related to, something like that. And so anyway, our mom is the kind of the queen of genealogy in our family, and her sisters and stuff. So one of her sisters and then maybe a brother, I don't know. Anyways, so I talked to her. I guess she said that Michelle had come to her and wanted to know more details about something with the background, and so I've been on just kind of doing research on this website server or what have you, called Family Search. And so I did that, and she said you should really get on Ancestry.com, and it's might give you more information than sorry. I had a call. Might give you more information than say just going on Family Search. And so that's kind of how I've gone down this rabbit hole, if you will. Then it kind of got into doing my husband's ancestry on Ancestry.com, and then I found that the part of his family that hasn't been I think people have researched it, but there's all the records are in German, and so that's been a challenge to for anybody who tries to, and his family who tries to trace back, and because they're not Germans anymore, and they're not connected to any in contact with anybody in Germany that's part of their extended family. So anyway, sorry. So I've been researching crazy, trying to find my husband's German heritage ancestry, and yeah, so it's just been a whole deal of just one thing leads to another. Okay, so and so I was at one point talking to my mom about a couple of the lines, and she said of our side, of my dad's side. So if Inmans are watching, your side too, and so there's the Inman line, the Inman surname, and then there's the Nelson surname, and the Inman obviously would be with you guys from Orville, Grandpa Orville, and and then the Nelson side is goes up a little more, but I have the pedigree to show you, and of course I'm sure you guys know this stuff, but so So I found a couple things out that were, you know, like for sure in a record, like about, oh, that's my cat. I closed the door, so she's like, let me in. But, oh my goodness, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought now. Okay. Shh, quiet. Oh my gosh, I have to pause it. Okay, sorry about that. I completely lost my train of thought. My cat was meowing. Okay, so I will show you the pedigree that I printed out. So here would be, say, you know, like the Orville and Doris Inman child. So here's my dad, and you know, with anybody who's watching, it could be you know, Rick or David, and so okay, so there we go. So we've got Orville's parents were Verna Nelson and Clarence Hamilton Inman, okay? And then we've got Clarence Hamilton Inman's father was John Lafayette Inman, all right? And Verna Nelson's father was Douglas Sylvester Nelson. I think they just called him Sylvester. Anyway, so I'm going to just give just a little kind of summary of kind of what the confusion was in the Inman line. So the Inman surname is, I don't know if you know, you guys already know this, cool, but it is British English. So the Inman line is from England. So we've got John. The confusion that my mom had, you know, when she was trying to, you know, get these answers many years ago with paper trail and, you know, libraries and town records and land deeds and things. And so she connected all these with, like, you know, she found some people who had connected the Inman line with land deeds. So, you know, father giving land to son, things like that, since they came to America. Okay, so we've got, you know, from Clarence Hamilton Inman, then we have John Lafayette, and then we have Samuel Hamilton Inman, and then we have Arnold Inman, and then we have Rufus Inman. Okay, and so the parentage of Rufus Inman was what was always in question. My mom was, you know, they couldn't find who was Rufus's, well, they couldn't find a record of who, you know, to connect Rufus to a parent. But other genealogists had put Rufus with someone named Joseph Inman Sr. But it was awesome because I was reading through all this information, and I think I was actually reading through this on Family Search, but since I have found other things on Ancestry.com that is, like, you know, back that up as well. But that Rufus's dad is not Joseph Inman Sr. It's actually, he was his older brother, actually, Joseph Inman Sr. This is in town, their town records of, I think it's Corinth, or I'll read it. I'll read it to you guys. Anyways, so Benjamin Inman is actually Rufus Inman's dad, and Benjamin Inman was an older gentleman for, you know, marrying a younger woman and having children at quite a young age, but the records put them together as husband and wife. So yeah, so that's it was kind of maybe like what had put him in question for people who were, you know, researching him. Okay, so we've got Benjamin, and then Edward, and then Edward and John. I'm reading this backwards now because yeah. Anyways, so yeah. Let's see. So there's some interesting things about how the Inman line got to you know, their experience once they got to America, or trying to get to America. So hold on one second. Okay, so this little story that I'm gonna read to you all, you know, because I personally like books on tape. I like audio books. You know, I'm very kinesthetic. Like I love to work with my hands, and I could I listen a lot better while I'm doing something. So anyway, so I hope you guys maybe can relate to that, and that listening to me read will be okay. I'll try to make it, you know, clear. Anyway, so this John Inman up here is how I'm gonna start. Okay. So so John Inman arrived in Virginia in 1619 aboard the Falcon. The records show that his passage was paid for by Edward Ben. Sorry, the ship with Edward Bennett. Oh crap, my this is cut off. Oh man. Just one second. Okay. Hi again. Sorry about that. Okay, so the records show, so John Inman arrived in Virginia in 1619 aboard the Falcon. The records show that his passage was paid for by Edward Bennett, and my printer, shut up. Okay. Aboard the Falcon. The records show that his passage was paid for by Edward Bennett, and he arrived on the ship with Edward Bennett's servants. From 1619 to 1628, so, okay, sorry. He worked as a surgeon in the colony. On February 16th, 1623, John appears on a list of persons of quality living in Virginia. By 1628, John wanted to return to his family in England. On May 1st, 1628, Edward Bennett managed to force him into servitude to him on his plantation per the following. And it says, this is from the William and Mary Quarterly, page 126 to 127, article titled Governor Richard Bennett Diary. And, you know, this is sourced. So it is ordered, this is quoting from that William and Mary Quarterly. It is ordered that John Inman, surgeon, in regard, he came over with servants of Mr. Edward Bennett, as himself confesses, who paid for his passage, shall remain and serve upon the plantation of the said Mr. Edward Bennett until he can procure testimony out of England to free himself. End quote. Generally, the period of service for a servant on the Bennett plantation was between 5 and 7 years. John was apparently on the plantation, but since he was a surgeon and since he wanted to return to England, Bennett appears concocted a scheme to keep him around. If correspondence arrived from England that would have freed him, Bennett confiscated it. I believe John died on Edward Bennett's plantation while in his service. A number of people believe John went to Rhode Island and was later joined by his family. His wife died around 1628. His son Edward was born in 1620 after John's departure aboard the Falcon. Edward Inman, John's son, arrived in Rhode Island in 1636. Remember, we had the 2 Edwards after John on our pedigree. According to the ship passenger list, it is Edward Inman, not John, who appears on the early records of Rhode Island. Edward was a glove maker by trade. Okay, so there was John, and now I haven't really looked much into Edward, but I do want to give you guys a little snippet about Rufus Inman. Okay, so Rufus. Okay, so we see again. I just want to recap. So John Lafayette, and then Clarence Hamilton. He was Orville's dad. Okay, so then John Lafayette Inman. Sorry, way too far away. Then Samuel Hamilton, Arnold, and then Rufus. And so now I'm going to show you, or tell you about Rufus. Okay. So this is actually a story about, or just it's a description and kind of a little story, but about the settling of a town called Corinth, Maine. And this was in their archives in Maine. And I copied this off, but it's from a book that they have in the archives in the town of Corinth, Maine. Okay. So let's see. So it says just bear with me, just relax, just have your headphones in or whatever you're doing, just kind of go on this little journey with me. Okay, so imagine the unsettled wilderness of Maine. All right. So in 1794, Mr. Josiah Simpson, Robert Campbell, Simon Prescott, Jonathan Snow, Rufus Inman, and others, passing through the Skinner settlement and proceeding in a northwesterly direction some 2 miles and near the line of said township, entered upon lands inviting both the lumberman and the agriculturalist, and here planted a neighborhood, which until the year of 1818 was known as the Simpson settlement, after which time, in consequence of a change of ownership, the place has been known as the Eddy settlement. On the easterly side of the Kenduskeag stream lay an elevation of grounds peculiarly adapted for planting an Eden neighborhood, on which grounds, I think that when they say an Eden neighborhood, they're talking about like the Garden of Eden, kind of like it's, abundant. It's like, kind of was sort of looks like it was meant to be abundant. Let's see. Sorry. On which Deacon John Hunting, Eben Hunting, Joshua Herrick, Reuben Ball, Isaac Ball, Benjamin Dyer, Samuel Gould, Josiah Gregory, David A. Gove, Andrew Strong, and others commenced operations in 1808, and soon a correct taste, judicious management, and nurturing industry gave remarkable evidences of the future growth and beauty of the coming neighborhood. The far-reaching vision of Deacon Hunting and his associates saw that the joint and individual effort of their little colony would convert the woodlands on the easterly side of the Kenduskeag into fields of growing grain, and soon teach the apparently useless waters of stream and brooks to turn the wheels of industry for man's special benefit. Much that was at first seen by the prophetic eye was soon realized, and as the worthy deacon was entering in every needed effort to hasten the growth of his neighborhood, it was called the hunting settlement, but New East Corinth. Okay, so then it goes on to say how the neighborhoods, grew. Okay, I don't know. I guess I could read that. Okay, so thus from 1792 to 1811, these neighborhoods were constantly receiving additions to their respective localities, and seemed to feel by a mystic Freemasonry that they were inseparable. The 19 years occupied as a township were years of quiet. Litigation was unknown, and scandal and falsehood on no human lip. Man was at all times confiding and accommodating. The scarcity of implements of husbandry prompted invention and the mechanic's eye readily saw in the trees surrounding him the wanting materials from which was readily made the rough article wanted for immediate use, the straight ash for beam, the sapling with appropriate bends for handles, and the beech of serpentine twist for moldboard in the hands of Mr. Abner Tibbets soon became the woodwork waiting only to be ironed by Mr. John Goldhue to become the pioneer plow, whilst the young maple, early bent by malaria's chronic rheumatism, was forced into the ungraceful shape of a scythe snap, a form necessary for early mowing, giving evidence of a co-partnership between nature and the farmer. Mr. Josiah, I don't know why I keep doing it. This is very blurry because I blew it up and printed it. Mr. Joshua C. Thompson framed and finished buildings of all descriptions, while Mr. Mason Skinner, from trees straight in grain, standing within sight of his shop, manufactured tubs, boxes, kegs, chairs, and almost every wooden article required for use. These people are amazing, right? They had to have a lot of talents to make it. Mr. Rufus Inman, a master, see, there's our guy, a master workman in wood, iron, and steel, manufactured spinning wheels of every description, made surgical instruments, and with wonderful skill used them, extracted teeth for 6 1/4 cents singly, and 10 cents for 2 at one sitting, would let blood when necessary, with a lance of his own making, with edge as sharp as his own wit. With Mr. Inman there was no storm, clouds lifted at his presence. He carried sunshine with him, and while his neighbor Snow, Mr. Snow, with heart as cold as the name he bore, sighed over fallen man, and wept over the world's condition and the depravity of the human heart, the merry sounds of the Inman voice was heard declaring that in the human soul was vested individual powers to make the coming man all God designed him to be, quote, a little lower than the angels, quote, end quote, and all that was wanting was patient finishing, every material for which was in man. And then they put a quotation or a parentheses on their little pen, in man. So there it was, Rufus Inman, apparently a very merry soul. And Rufus Inman, I think he was, let's see, how many generations back? He's like, let me just see really quick, guys. Okay, so he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's our my generation. So like, you know, Casey, Carrie, Michelle, you know, Kim, you know, Heidi, Rick Jr. He is our 5th great grandfather, I believe. So 5th great grandfather. Okay, and then hope you guys aren't too bored here. Okay, and then I found this little. It's a military. So he fought in. Okay, so I got cut off there. So he fought in the Revolutionary War when he was, I think, 13 years old. Rufus. So so he's on this little list of you know, description here of who fought. And I think this was said soldiers like from Massachusetts. So descriptive list of men raised in Worcester County to serve in the Continental Army, agreeable to resolve of December 2nd, 1780, as returned by Seth Washburn, superintendent for said county. Captain Chase's CO, I can't remember what that means anymore. Company, that's what it is. Captain Chase's company, Colonel Davis's regiment, age 18. Oh, maybe he was just 18 when he got out, I think, when it was over. let's see, 18 years old, stature 5 foot 5 inches, so they were shorter back then. Complexion was dark, it says. Occupation was farmer, and we are from long line of farmers. Let's see, engaged for town of Satin, and then engaged January 11th, 1781. Term was 3 years, also private first company. Order dated October 28th, 1783 for wages for May to July, year not given, appearing in a register of orders accepted on account of wages. Alrighty. And also on that record is Joseph Inman. Joseph Inman. So that, as I understand, is the older brother. My phone. I think I'm gonna have to do another one for the other presentation. Okay, so not that this is like a great presentation or anything, but anyway, so as I told you guys before, Rufus's older brother used to be, like, people used to think maybe that was his dad, but actually it's Benjamin. So this was the story that's from this. It's from another. It's the town of. I'm so sorry. Now I'm trying to remember. Oh, Rhode Island. Sorry. So yeah, they were kind of, all over in the East Coast. But so Joseph Inman. This is called the story of the murder trial of Joseph Inman. So Rufus' little brother. Okay. So Joseph Inman was born in 1754 in Smithfield, Providence County, Rhode Island. And I'm so sorry, you guys, I probably haven't told you any dates of when anyone was born, but Rufus Inman was born 1763. Okay, so not too long after Joseph, about 9 years, but they had a lot of kids for a lot of like long spans of time back then. So, okay. He is believed to be the son of Benjamin Inman and Thasman Page due to the records of Rhode Island stating he was responsible for caring for the elderly Benjamin Inman. 1st of March, 1773, quote, whereas Othniel Mathewson, as overseer of poor, presented on account as agent of town, charged by Joseph Inman to the amount of £6 to 9 pence for keeping Benjamin Inman. And on 6th of March, 1773, Dudley, Worcester County, Massachusetts, Benjamin Inman purchased land at Dudley from Joseph Benson, his brother-in-law. We find a divorce record for Joseph Inman and Hannah Inman in 1780, where she sought grounds for divorce for breaking his marriage contract. Adultery sworn to by Stuteley Inman in 1780. Note, Stuteley Inman was in Massachusetts in 1790. In 1790, we find Joseph Inman Sr. living on the Coburton Plantation, Hancock County, Maryland, I think, or is that Maine? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I think it's Maine, actually. But you guys can look this stuff up too, and then you'll find out. Let's see. In 1801, Joseph finds himself in trouble and is accused of murdering an Oliver Chapman Holmes. This should be Holmes. Here is the report. Bangor Historical Magazine, Volume 3, page 54. Arrest and trial of Joseph Inman of Orano for the murder in 1801. Joseph Inman Sr. was an early settler in what is now Orano, where he came 1783 in June. In July 1801, so this is a great uncle of ours, and one Oliver Holmes, alias Chapman, also a resident, was missing. Holmes and Inman had quarreled, perhaps when under the influence of rum. With almost entire unanimity, the people charged Inman with the murder of Holmes. Complaint was made to Colonel Jonathan Eddy, remember the Eddy, that name of that town? Anyways, or that settlement, of Eddington. The complaint to Jonathan Eddy, Esquire, it's like a lawyer, I believe is what that means, one of the justices assigned to keep the peace within and for said county, or maybe a judge, actually. Whereas we, whose names are underwritten, have strong suspicions and serious reasons to apprehend that Oliver Holmes, late of Colburton Plantation, has been murdered. And we have violent reasons to suspect that Joseph Inman, Amble Inman, wife of the said Joseph Inman, and Aseneth, I don't know how to say these names, Holmes, wife of the said Oliver Holmes, and James Page, all of Colburton Plantation aforesaid, have murdered him, the above said Oliver Holmes, or have been accessory to the above said murder. We therefore request you, the said justice, to issue your warrant to apprehend the said Joseph Inman, Amble Inman, Aseneth Holmes, and James Page, and bring before me the said justice for examination touching the above complaint, that they may be further dealt with by according to law. July 22nd, 1801. Let's see. And that's Emerson Orcutt, John Phillips, Archibald McFetters, and let's see, Colonel Eddy issued, and I think was signed by those people. Colonel Eddy issued his warrant the same day for the arrest of the parties, and Joseph Inman Jr., William Inman, so Joseph Inman Sr.'s son, William Inman, Hannah Page, John Mansell, and David Reed were summoned as witnesses. The examination was had the 23rd of July at the house of Esquire Eddy in Eddington. His house was nearly opposite end of the Vesey Dam. Nearly the whole population of the upper Penobscot were there. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Penobscot. Penobscot were there. The roads were few and they came by water. So it was a big deal when someone was on trial for murder. Public opinion was against the prisoners, one or all of them. As to the testimony, tradition says that William Inman, his son, swore that he saw his father strike Holmes. One piece of testimony has come down. The original I now have before me, worn and soiled by 86 years. I give a copy. This day, being on Sunday morning about 8 o'clock, William Inman, son of Joseph Inman, Sr., swore that he saw, this day being, son of Joseph Inman of Colburton Plantation, so called, being about 22 or 23 years old, came to me with the following account of what appeared to him the evening before. I, William Inman, being at a place called Mash's Island on Penobscot River, in a house of Joseph Treat and John Spencer, came in with a pint of rum, and told me if I would fetch some water, I should have some grog to drink with him. I took a pail in my hand and stepped out of the door, and stepped 2 or 3 steps toward the water, and something appeared before me, but I went on to get some water, and looking about, it seemed to be a ghost. I dipped some water and turned about to go back. It rose right up before me and seemed to go backward toward the house, and whether it or not I cannot tell, for I was very much surprised, but it spoke to me and said, "You may now know that you wanted to know. Your father was the very man that killed me," and walked away, and this I am willing to take my oath of. William Inman. He signed his mark, his little X. It looked like that on the record. The person puts it there. But whatever the testimony, it was sufficient to commit Joseph Inman to the Pownborough jail, which is now Dresden, to answer to the charge of murder at the next term of the court for the county of Lincoln, where murder cases were returnable. Inman laid in jail some months, when to the surprise of everyone, Holmes appeared at Orano. He had been to Rhode Island visiting, and saw in some newspaper, I only have like 1 minute left where it's going to cut me off, and then I start another one. In some newspaper, the account of the arrest of Inman. and came back to show people that he was not dead. Inman was soon discharged, and a petition, so Holmes appeared, so he was alive in just a different town. So he had been in Rhode Island visiting his family. So Inman was soon discharged, and a petition was sent to the general court in his behalf. The petition reads, oh, it's going to cut me off. Okay. To the Honorable, so the petition reads, to the Honorable, the Senate and House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in General Court assembled. The subscribers beg leave to represent the Joseph Inman of a plantation called Colburton Town in the county of Hancock, a settler on the land of the Commonwealth, and who has stated to the subscribers that he is indebted to the Commonwealth for said land in the sum of about $150, was in the summer of the year 1801 very unjustly arrested and committed to prison on suspicion of having murdered one Oliver Holmes of said Colburn Town, who had been sometime absent from his family, that he, the said Inman, was in close confinement for about 4 months. And close confinement for 4 months, yikes. If that's like, the prisons were not as kind as they are nowadays for accommodations, I believe. So, and that in consequence of said suspicion and Conley, he incurred many and very great expenses in endeavoring to discover the said home. So he was having people investigate where this guy that he knows he, didn't murder, had gone. So, let's see. And many suits were commenced against him by persons to whom he was indebted, his property taken and sold for a very small part of its real value, by reason of which the said Inman is rendered unable to pay the sum due to the said Commonwealth. And it says, notes end of page 55. The petitioners therefore humbly pray that the court may take into consideration the peculiar inconveniences and injuries the said Inman has sustained in consequence of said arrest and confinement, and release to him the whole or part of said sum, or otherwise relieve the said Inman as the court may in their wisdom deem expedient, and in duty bound the petitioners will ever pray. May 31st, 1801, signed by Amos Patton, Allen Gilman, Henry Reed, Sammy Dutton, John Crosby, Samuel Greenleaf, John Barker, Moses Greenleaf, Bulkeley, Emerson. Okay. Boston, February 5th, 1805. Sir Joseph, and they spell it E-N-M-A-N, but Inman, one of the 32 settlers who settled on the lands. So there's not a lot of people back then compared to now. So this is, it's amazing that we have this. One of the 32 settlers who settled on the lands purchased by the Commonwealth of the Penobscot tribe of Indians before 1796 has purchased one half of Archibald McFetter's lot, as I am informed, who was returned as one of the said 32 settlers. The said Archibald McFetters has got a deed of the other half of said lot. There is nothing in the way to hinder the said Inman having 150 acres but his poverty, with me as agent, Salem Town. To Jonathan Maynard, Esquire, Enders 1, General, and it's called the General Town Certificate. Okay. On the petition of Amos Patton, directing the Honorable Salem Town Esquire to make and execute a deed to Joseph Inman of 150 acres of land in the townships of land purchased of the Penobscot Indians, and then it says February 15th, 1805, that's the date of that certificate. On the petition of Amos Patton and others in behalf of Joseph Inman, who suffered a long confinement in close gaol on suspicion of having murdered one Oliver Holmes, resolved for reasons set forth in said petition, that the prayer thereof be granted, that the Honorable Salem Town Esquire, as commissioner or agent for the sale of the 9 townships of land purchased of the Penobscot Indians, he directed and is he is hereby authorized and empowered to make and execute a good and sufficient deed to the aforesaid Joseph Inman of 150 acres of land, free of any expense to him, the said Inman, in the same way and manner as thought he, the said Inman, had compiled with a resolve of the legislature passed March 21st, AD 1798. He being one of the settlers therein described any law or resolve to the contrary notwithstanding. It says page 56. On the transcripts of the trial, it says his wife is Amble, believed to be Annabelle Page, and lists sons Joseph Jr. and William as witnesses. The Providence Journal, dated 9th of September 1801, stated Joseph was in the prison and confined to death. So he's going to be put to death for murder he didn't even commit. Oliver Holmes was in Rhode Island at the time visiting family and made his way back to Maine to show people Joseph Inman did not murder him, thus saving Joseph from an untimely death. Joseph Smith Sr. year of birth came from a deposition he gave for Abraham Tortelot. So now it's just kind of giving a little history of, that he existed after that happened, in the records. Let's see. So in July 1818, where he states Joseph Inman of Orano, the county of Penobscot, Yowman, aged 64, and then it says in parentheses 1754 is his birthday, testified that in the year 1776, I was a private soldier in the service of the United States in Colonel Lippett's regiment, that I was well acquainted with the name Abraham Tortelot, and I am knowing to his being a soldier in Captain Hopkins' company in the said Colonel Lippett's regiment. He was in this with us nearly 5 months. The list from NARA. This deposition document is in file at the NARA. Joseph Inman's daughter Charlotte Inman married the son of Abraham Tortelot Thomas on March 5th, 1809. Joseph and brother Rufus, there it is, brother Rufus, are found on a petition to General Court from Stillwater to now Orano in 1804. It appears that Joseph disappears from all records as of 1830. There are no records. Okay. And then I'm so sorry, I keep getting cut off. I should have emptied my storage before I started this. So, and then it says, there are no records at the probate courts of the counties of Penobscot, Hancock, or York, per the clerks of those municipalities. And there were some other records of 1776 Massachusetts soldiers and sailors, that kind of thing. So these the Inmans, from our family were definitely involved in the Revolutionary War. Sorry, this needs allergies. So I'm gonna do like a different presentation, or just a different video. Maybe you can hardly call it presentation. I don't know. I just wanted to share these awesome things with you guys, and I know we're not gonna be visiting anytime soon because I'm in Utah, and it's kind of like a big pain to go visit in Washington State. I do love it, but it's like a long drive, and I did go last year, but I only had time to show my kids around and spend time with just a few people. And anyway, so I didn't really want to wait. I'm impatient, and I wanted to tell you guys this. This is stuff that our family has wanted to know for a very, very long time. So I want to talk to you guys about the Nelsons next, and that just needs to be a totally different video. So thank you for listening if you stayed this long. I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but I normally do this. I only do video presentations or video whatever for my craft channel for cross stitching. So this is a little different. I'm not totally used to this, but this is probably way more worthy cause to share family history with family. So anyways, I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again.